Well, good morning. Welcome to Thursday morning's thought for today. This morning we're looking at Psalm 84. We've been looking at it this week and we looked at it on Sunday. And I'm just trying to fill in some gaps or to give us further reason to think and to ponder in God's word as we go through the passage a little bit more this week. And we won't be able to cover everything, but I want to just highlight a few little issues that maybe came to my mind, maybe came to yours. And forgive me if there's something that you wanted to hear me talk about and I didn't mention it. But as I say, we can't do it all, and maybe in a conversation in the future, you and I can have a good chat about that. I hope you're missing being together so much that you will long for being back in the courts of the Lord, in other words, back in your church, worshipping with God's people on the Lord's Day. So this morning we're looking really at the verses which are very familiar. We're skipping ahead really to verse 10, and we're just really looking at verse 10 this morning. The psalmist says, "For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness." We don't have too many tents of wickedness that we know of around here. Although I think what the psalmist is referring to is basically those who are far from God. Those who are not interested in God, those who are not interested in church. And when you think about it and take time to think about how much time you spend in God's house during the week and how much you spend in the world, I think we actually spend quite a bit of time in what the psalmist might be tempted to refer to as the tents of wickedness. Some of the stuff we watch on television, some of the stuff we read, some of the stuff we let our eyes look at and our mind think about, it's not wholesome, it's not good, and the world around us is not interested in drawing us closer to God. In fact, it would draw us further away from the Lord if it possibly could. And so the tents of wickedness are all around us. And sometimes I suppose we stray into them ourselves without even thinking. And we use the excuse, well, everyone else is doing it. Or so-and-so said this was worth watching. Or so-and-so said I should read this book. And sometimes we don't realize that we're spending more time, so much more time, doing things that are taking us further away from God instead of closer to Him. And the psalmist here says he would far rather have just one day that he could spend in the courts of God, in the courts of the temple, in and about the business of God, in and about God's people. Just one day than thousands of days doing other things. And I wonder how you feel. I wonder, do you miss your church that much that you just simply want to be in God's house more than anything else? It's one of those songs that maybe as you've been thinking about it, as I've been reading the words, maybe it's come into your mind, that Matt Redman song, "Better Is One Day." It's a song that's been out for years. I'm going to try and put it in the comments section below. So if you see this video and you can read it in the comments below, you get a chance to listen to it. But we know the wonderful song based on the "How Lovely Is Thy Dwelling Place, O Lord of Hosts" to me. That song we sang on Sunday. That song, which I'm sure some of you know, it's actually one of my favourites. As Alistair knows, I've been chatting to him about it for some time. But there are two songs, at least two songs that come from this psalm. Very few psalms have more than two songs that come from them. Obviously, the psalm itself, the metric psalm, is a song which is put to music because of the words of the psalmist. But also these other songs have come from it as well. And Matt Redman's song, "Better Is One Day," that's not a popular opinion. The world does not say better is one day in God's house, in God's church, or about the church life than 1,000 days elsewhere. We've been spending 1,000 days or so away from God's house because of not being able to get there. I hope and pray that during this week you've been focusing more on how precious it is to be in God's house. When we think of the world over, so many people not able to get to church because church is banned in their country or it's outlawed and they have to worship in secret. Take some time and go to Open Doors, have a look on their website, and you'll see exactly what I mean. We have such a privilege here. We have an open door virtually every Sunday whenever we can, whenever we're allowed. The government didn't want to close our churches. They told us that. In many countries, they do want to close churches down. So we have a privilege, and I pray that you will say to yourself, oh, just to get back to church, just have that one day back in church, it's all I want, it's all I look forward to. And then come back with that attitude and bring that joy with you so we can all share in it together. I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully not too long in the distant future. But in the meantime, let's stay in touch. and let's keep watching these videos and keep worshiping online and keep trusting and growing from strength to strength. See you tomorrow morning. Thanks for being with me today. God bless.